All right, so it is now time to get to the good stuff. It is now time for the Summer Games Fest showcase predictions, the June 8th showcase by old Keeley, seeing what he's cooking up. He tweeted out this graphic of the different publishers that were lined up for Summer Games Fest. And so I'm just going to go through here and try to make some predictions based on the publishers that were announced to be appearing at Summer Games Fest. I don't necessarily know if he means all these publishers are going to show up at the showcase, or if all these publishers are just going to pop up at some point over the period of summer, because he's kind of claimed the entire summer as his own thing here. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go through the publishers that were listed out and make some predictions for what I think we can see at Summer Games Fest, the June 8th event. I might have been a little bit over the top here with the predictions. I feel like I went really conservative, really safe with PlayStation. Building my Xbox predictions, I think I've gone pretty safe there as well. I think I might have went a little bit overboard with Summer Games Fest. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, don't look at these predictions and base your expectations for what we can see at that June 8th showcase off of what's going to be on this list, because I might have went a little bit overboard here. So we'll see. Let's go ahead, and I'm not going to go over every single publisher, because there's some of these publishers I don't know shit about, so I can't really provide much in-depth analysis there for those publishers, but we'll go over some of the big dogs. EA, I think it is an absolute lock that we see that Immortals of Aveum game, the first-person shooter that is coming from the original Dead Space creative director. I think this shit actually looks kind of sick. It just has this fantastical sci-fi sort of vibe with this narrative-based first-person shooter. And, I was talking about it. I had recently played Fear, and while playing it, I was like, man, I really hope we get back to a point where we can see more first-person shooter 10 to 15-hour narrative-driven experiences. So I'm really hoping that is what we get from this Immortals of Aveum game. Obviously, EA has a lot in development right now that we still have a lot of questions for, a lot that I'm very curious about. Dragon Age 4, I think it has the slimmest of shots of showing up. I'm not going to predict that there. I'm going to say it doesn't show up. I would love to. In a dream world, that would be the one game from EA that I would want to see more than anything, and it's been a long-ass time since we have seen anything on Dragon Age 4, so I think at some point, we got to see some kind of gameplay, some sort of something with Dragon Age 4, and the longer we go without seeing anything, the more worried I get about that game. But I'm going to say we don't see anything with Dragon Age 4. I think it's going to be a while, maybe like 2025-ish until that thing launches, maybe even later. Skate 4 is another one that's in development at EA that people are highly anticipating. Well, I kind of guess people were highly anticipating until all of the information got out there about it being a bit more of like a free-to-play service-based game. I understand why they went that direction. I would personally prefer it to be like a real $60, $70 title, a new entry in the Skate franchise. So I don't think we're going to see that either. I think the one lock it in prediction that I'm going with for EA is I'm going to say we see that Immortals of Aveum title a little bit more in depth. And I think that's coming out in like July, August, sometime this summer. So we're definitely going to get a look at that, I would imagine. Activision. I'm going to go with Modern Warfare 3 here for Activision. It should be revealed here, released in 2023. That's just kind of clockwork at this point. We're going to get the reveal. We're going to get an annual release. And yeah, I believe that the last title was revealed at Gamescom 2022. So they have, collaborated with Keighley for their big reveals in the past. So I don't expect that to be any different here. Now, this is a really interesting one, this next one. Amazon. I'm wondering, because it was just announced that they have this the new MMO with the Lord of the Rings that they're working on. I don't think that will be revealed, obviously, because it was literally just announced. But I'm hoping that we see that Tomb Raider title that they're funding. I really want to see that Tomb Raider title that Amazon is funding, and just I'm expecting a crazy budget for this game, and I'm gonna say we see it here at Summer Games Fest. I believe the rumor was that Tomb Raider would release before Perfect Dark. With Crystal Dynamics kind of working on both. I don't know if that rumor's true, but I do remember clearly seeing a rumor that Tomb Raider would be first and Perfect Dark would be the next game that was released that Crystal Dynamics was working on. So I really do think we're going to see something fucking crazy with this Tomb Raider title. If they're funding the shit out of this, making $150-200 million new Tomb Raider game, like I'm very much excited to see what we get here. So I'm gonna lock that in. I'm gonna say we get the official Tomb Raider Amazon reveal at Summer Games Fest. Bandai Namco. I'm going a simple, safe one here. There's a bunch of more out there predictions you could make for Bandai Namco. Obviously, you can do some Elden Ring DLC, like shit like that would really people would be jumping out of their fucking seats for that. I'm going to go simple here. I'm going to go Armored Core 6. I think we'll just see new gameplay. What I personally want to see, but I'm not locking it in as my prediction, what I personally want to see is Little Nightmares 3. I know that they are working on it. I hope we see Little Nightmares 3. But my official lock it in prediction for Bandai Namco is going to be Armored Core 6. Moving on to Capcom. Once again, if we're, and I guess I'll do this for a few of these publishers here, but my dream, what I want, of course, what I want is like Dino Crisis or Resident Evil Code Veronica. Do I think we're going to get that? Not yet. If it's not going to be those two, what I really want is Pragmata. I want to see more on that. Do I think it's going to be that either? Probably not. What I expect is Street Fighter 6. Is going to be the big reveal for Capcom. We've already seen a bunch of it. It's releasing this year, and yeah, we're going to get more gameplay on Street Fighter 6, another trailer for Street Fighter 6. I would love to be wrong here, or maybe Exoprimal as well with that releasing. Oh, that releases I think that might release in July. So definitely right around that time frame. So an Exoprimal or a Street Fighter 6 I could see. I'm going to lock in Street Fighter 6 for my prediction there. But god damn it, I want it to be Pragmata. CD Projekt Red. We know that they have 800,000 Witcher games in development. All this huge pipeline. What we're going to get here should definitely, we should all expect Cyberpunk, the Phantom Liberty DLC. And I'm very excited to play through that, to check that out. I think that should be a lock, that we get a release date for Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, a look at the gameplay running on next gen. It's PC and next gen only, the way that Cyberpunk initially should have been. So yeah, we're gonna get a look at that with old Idris Elba in the mix, acting alongside fucking Keanu Reeves in the game space, just taking shit to the next level. I'm very excited for that. I think we will see it at that June 8th event. Devolver Digital, my most anticipated indie game in development, or my most anticipated indie game releasing this year, supposed to be releasing this year. We got to see it. The Plucky Squire, this just beautiful game where you're I've talked about it many times on the channel, but I don't mind talking about it again. You're running across the pages of the book, engaging in some kind of, old school, simple, like retro action going on, and then you jump off the page of the book and it ends up being this little person, big world, Toy Story-esque 3D adventure that you're going on. It just looks so goddamn good. They announced it, said it was going to have a 2023. It was going to release in 2023. I just hope. I hope it does. Obviously take all the time you need because that thing looks magnificent. I want to see it polished and running at its best, just fucking the best state it could possibly be in. But I'm going to say The Plucky Squire. I'm going to say we do get the Plucky Squire. You know, Angerfoot is another one that another Devolver Digital joint that I could see showing up here. The first person kicker, you're kicking down doors and shit with your essentially the whole game is just kicking shit. You're just going around kicking a bunch of shit, and it looks sick as hell. It's another Devolver Digital title that I would not be surprised to see pop up at this showcase. Disney. Here's a really interesting one, because this can span into a lot of different territories that could get us very, very fucking excited, or could be pretty run-of-the-mill, simple, like, no offense, but kind of mild hype, I guess you could say. Or it could be we see that new Amy Hennig Marvel game, real gameplay of it for the first time, was Captain America, Black Panther, they got a lot of shit going on with the little teaser that they revealed at the Disney showcase last year. If we saw anything on that, I would lose my shit. Or I believe she's also writing a Star Wars game, if I'm not mistaken, for that new company that they founded. But I don't think we're going to see Amy Hennig's new Marvel game. I don't think we're going to see her new Star Wars game. I think we're going to see Disney Illusion Island. This was revealed at that same showcase, the Disney showcase for 2022. This was the 2D platformer puzzle solver sort of really, really awesome art style. I think that's probably the safe bet for what we're going to get from Disney at this showcase. So that's my lock it in there. Would love to be wrong on this. Would love to see that Captain America Black Panther style game that was revealed last year. I think I'm right about that. Black Panther and Captain America, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've rewatched that trailer. I'm kind of losing the damn information on what actually was shown in that reveal, but I believe it was Cap and Black Panther. But yeah, I'm going Disney Illusion Island for my lock it in for the showcase. Focus Home. So this this might be a bit of a reach. This might be a bit hopeful, but I'm going Banisher's Ghost of Eden, the new Don't Nod game. Decision-based action adventure game. I loved Vampire, which would be I guess the most similar to this style of title that Don't Nod worked on previously. Just to see that expanded on a little bit more in almost this Witcher-esque vibe. Don't Nod's kind of attempt at a Witcher style title. Like, I really, really want to see more on this, because I think that they had something there with the template that they developed for Vampire. I think that expanding on that with this Banishers game, if we can see some real gameplay of this thing. I know it's supposed to be like a 2024, I believe they said a 2024 window on it the first time they revealed it. So it's a little ways out, and they don't have to, they don't have to like lock in a release date or anything. But I do want to see this. I do want to see some gameplay of it, or at least get a conceptual idea of what we're going to be doing with the moment-to-moment gameplay. But yeah, Banisher's Ghost of Eden, I think that's going to be the Focus Home reveal. Gearbox. I'm going with Remnant 2, the sequel to Remnant from the Ashes. And people loved this game. Like a Souls shooter was a lot of the terminology that was thrown out there. People absolutely loved this game. So the fact that they're working on a sequel, and if it could get revealed here, I think that's a big announcement for the showcase. Larian Studios, obviously, Baldur's Gate 3. I think we'll be seeing a lot of Baldur's Gate 3 popping up at these different events. I really do. I've said it multiple times on the show, but I do expect this to be like the biggest Baldur's Gate game by like a long stretch. Like I think that the other two have sold a couple million copies apiece, 1 million, 2 million copies apiece. I would not be surprised if this sells 5-10 million copies. I think this is going to be a humongous hit. So Baldur's Gate 3, I think we do see that there. Netflix has a lot in development right now that could be announced here. Oxenfree 2 is one that we saw at the Nintendo Indie World or whatever. I think that's a fairly safe lock for showing up. Valiant Hearts, the coming from Ubisoft. They also have, I believe, the Assassin's Creed mobile game that they're working with Netflix on, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of possibilities there. I'm gonna go Oxenfree 2 on this one. You know what, fuck, I think I'm gonna go Oxenfree 2 and Valiant Hearts. I could see both of those popping up at this showcase. Next up, we have Pearl Abyss, and if I'm being totally honest, I don't know a ton about Pearl Abyss, but they have that Crimson Desert game coming late 2023, supposedly. And I believe this was initially developed as like a big MMO style title, but they have since kind of walked back on some of that and then removed some of those MMO features, if I'm not mistaken. So that makes me a lot more interested in it personally. It looks decent. I'm going to say that's the fairly obvious choice there for Pearl Abyss, that we see Crimson Desert. PlayOn. Once again, I'm being hopeful on this one. If I got to be honest, this is definitely a hope. I really want to see Flying Wild Hog's new game. And I know that, they're a prolific team, man. They had Shadow Warrior 3 and the Evil West last year. And I'm hopeful on this one. I hope that Evil West did well enough to where it can get a sequel. And these games are not humongous. You're talking about 8 or so hour action adventure games. And so like that, I think it's possible that we could see Flying Wild Hog's new game revealed. And if that is the case, I just pray to God that it's Evil West. I'm not going to predict it here, but if you had to know my number one wish, or one of my top wishes for this showcase, would be to just see a Evil West 2, just literally the logo to let us know it is coming, that the fanfare, that the people supported it, liked it, and we can get back to those 7th generation third-person shooter, kinetic action style games. I just really want to see that genre revitalized, and I think Evil West did it about as good as any game has in a long ass time. So I really do hope we get a sequel to that. But what I think could pop up here is, and the one I'm going to predict, and this once again might be a little bit hopeful, but I'm going to say we get a look at that new Time Splitters title. It's been a long fucking time since we have seen anything on that, and I could be way out of my depth here. That thing might have been canceled, or some shit might have took place that prevents us from ever getting that game. But I really hope we see more on it, because once again, the nostalgia market is hot. The people that, you're talking about that 100 plus, or 150 million people owned, or 180 million people owned a PS2. I could be off on the numbers there a little bit, but I imagine a lot of people picked up Time Splitters, especially Time Splitters 2, have a ton of nostalgia for it, and I could see that coming out and being like a really hot commodity on the market today, and just tapping into that nostalgia, as long as they can deliver on the feel of the game that people expect from something with the name Time Splitters attached to it. But that's going to be my kind of wild out there prediction for this. I'm going to say we see that new Time Splitters game, a big reveal of that new Time Splitters title. So we move on to PlayStation. And obviously PlayStation will save the good stuff for their May 24th showcase. And so I was really racking my brain about what the fuck could be possible there. And I was like, okay, probably Factions. We'll see it at the showcase. And then, Factions was initially revealed at one of Keighley's showcases last year, the year before. And so I would like, okay, maybe they'll come back out. Neil Druckmann will talk a little bit about Factions too. I could see that being a possibility. Now, I still could see that maybe being a possibility. But I was watching David Jaffe's interview with Jeff Keighley. And Keighley almost pretty much laid it out there that we're going to get a new Twisted Metal TV show trailer for the Summer Games Fest event. And he might have been trying to, throw off the case a little bit so he could skate by the question when Jaffe asked like what we could expect from Summer Games Fest. He might have just threw something out there that we're not going to see. But I'm going to take him at his word there. I'm going to say we see the Twisted Metal TV show, like the big, we got the little teaser shot. I think we're going to get a big reveal, a big trailer for the Twisted Metal TV show to let us kind of see the tone of it, let us see the humor, let us see if they're going to go into any horror directions with it. And yeah, I think it comes out in like July or so. So it's about time to really start the marketing for that heavily. So Death Stranding 2 is always one that you can kind of toss around and question because of the relationship that Keighley has with Kojima. I'm going to say no, because I think if we did see that, I think it would be at the PlayStation Showcase, with it being a Sony published title. And I don't even think we're going to see it there. It might be another cinematic trailer, because we know that Kojima loves those goddamn cinematic trailers. But I think it might be a little bit until we really get another look at Death Stranding. I might be way off there, but outside of that, I was contemplating like what could possibly take place here. And you start thinking about PC ports, you start thinking about what hasn't been ported to PC yet. And the only thing I could really think of was Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Pretty much everything else at this point has been ported to PC. All of the big titles. Obviously, Bloodborne would be a humongous one that would get people super hyped. Maybe, but I'm going very, very safe with my PlayStation predictions here, and I'm going with the Twisted Metal TV show, because I just think if anything that scale was to be announced, other than maybe a Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart PC port, anything of that scale of a Bloodborne PC port or a fucking Death Stranding 2, or like, I think all of that would be saved for the PlayStation Showcase. I could be wrong. What I want more than anything with this is just some of those classic titles ported to modern systems. It is a shame that these companies that have these legacy collections, these iconic games, that are just stranded to old hardware. Like, it's almost embarrassing that we don't have an Infamous 1 and 2 available on PS5, that we don't have Resistance, that we don't have fucking Sly Cooper collection, that we don't have the God of War collection, that we don't have the list goes on and on of these titles that we should have collections for on our modern systems to fucking, everybody's all about this preservation, that, but like, it just seems that these companies really could give a fuck less about it. But yeah, that would be what I would want more than anything from Sony at a Summer Games Fest style event, or from PlayStation, is that we get some of those collections started rolling out so that people can go back and play Infamous in this modern time where the superhero market is dominant. Like, I could imagine Infamous coming back today and being a humongous hit once again, like we've talked about many a times. That nostalgia is real, but then also introducing a new market to it. Man, I could see something like that being a huge hit. But anyways, on into Sega. And if you've stayed with me this whole time, and I know that some of you are like, well, you said early that this is going to be your wild predictions, and a lot of these predictions seem fairly tame. This is where it gets crazy. I think Sega's going to have a huge splash here. I think we're going to get the announcement of Jet Set Radio Future, the remake. I think we're going to get the announcement of that. I also think we're going to get the announcement of the Persona 3 remake. I think we'll get both of them at this showcase. The Persona 3 gameplay already leaked, so we know that both of these are in the works, and I couldn't think of a better place to announce it. Maybe Xbox, but I don't think it makes sense with the way that Xbox does their showcases anymore, where everything is either Game Pass day one or first party titles. So, well, which are obviously Game Pass day one as well. So, like, their main focus, their main bread and butter is on their first party output and their Game Pass day one output. I don't see a world where Sega launches Persona 3 remake or Jet Set Radio Future remake on Game Pass day one. I just, maybe if Microsoft is really throwing a bag at Sega, and they're starting to maybe get to that point where that's a new acquisition that's in the works. If we did see Persona 3 and Jet Set Radio Future Remake both launch day one on Game Pass, I would pretty much call that a foregone conclusion that Microsoft is going to acquire or going to try to acquire Sega after that. But I don't see it, especially not right now with the whole CMA shit with Activision and all that. So I think they'll be announced at the Summer Games Fest showcase, and yeah, I think that's where we'll see Persona 3 Remake and Jet Set Radio Future Remake. Next up, into Square Enix, I think we get more marketing for Final Fantasy 16 with it releasing in June 22nd, I believe. Well, shit, this showcase. Okay, this showcase will be June 8th. So yeah, we'll get more marketing for Final Fantasy 16. Once again, we're getting in that crazy territory for Sega. For the next few predictions, we're getting into a wild territory. So kind of a bummer that the earlier predictions were a little bit more tame. So a lot of the final back end here that is really where the crazy shit starts to take place. I think we get Kingdom Hearts 4, a gameplay trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4. Once again, if it's going to be announced anywhere, you would have to imagine it's going to be announced here. Maybe the PlayStation Showcase, but Kingdom Hearts 3 came to Xbox as well. I'm not a Kingdom Hearts fan, but I believe Kingdom Hearts 3 was a multi-platform release. And maybe that's a big enough title that PlayStation could be like, yeah, we'll still show it off at the showcase. It's big enough and has that appeal enough and that legacy with PlayStation that we want it to be a part of the showcase. But I'm going to get a little crazy here. I'm going to say we see Kingdom Hearts 4 at the Summer Games Fest event. Heading on to Techland. And this is a really weird one because we saw Dying Light 2 in 2022, I believe, was when Dying Light 2 released. Yeah, early 2022. We know that they're supposedly working on a new IP. I'm going to say we see it. I'm just going to say it's one of those kind of like 007, hey, come work for us style trailers that we get that show pretty much no information about the game whatsoever. Just like a, hey, where, a concept of, okay, it's a first person fantasy game and we need to hire some damn talent for it. So here's the announcement. Let's get some people to come work on this shit with us. I think it's going to be more of one of those style of reveals. It could just be Dying Light 2 DLC. I wouldn't really be surprised by that, but I'm just thinking a really like simplistic, straight to the point teaser trailer for their new supposed fantasy first person style game that they're working on. Next, heading to Ubisoft, and this is obviously the big question mark in anytime they're going to announce anything. It's either, holy shit, we could see something epic like a Beyond Good and Evil 2, the Star Wars game that they're supposedly working on, or we could see fucking Skull and Bones, and it's, or we could see another live service title that they'll shit out and forget about in 6 months' time. Like, Ubisoft is a company that seems to be in total turmoil at this point, and I never really know what to predict. I'm going to go with Avatar here, the first-person Avatar game that's supposedly a lot like a Far Cry title, which I'm totally on board for. I would be totally open to playing a single-player Avatar first-person adventure game. Like, I'm totally open to that. So I think we will see that Avatar game, and I think we'll get gameplay of it, and I actually think we might get a release date for this Avatar title that is supposedly like early 2024. It's been, I believe it's been the rumor that it's looking at an early 2024 launch. So I'm going to say we get Avatar. I unfortunately don't think we're going to see that Star Wars game. I don't think we're going to see Beyond Good and Evil 2. Would I be surprised if we saw Skull and Bones? No. Would I be surprised if we saw another off-the-wall live service title? No. I would love to see some Immortals Phoenix Rising type shit, Immortals Phoenix Rising 2 pop up, or a Splinter Cell reveal pop up, or a fucking Prince of Persia reveal pop up. Ubisoft has so much. Assassin's Creed Mirage, is another one that I think, honestly, that's a pretty safe lock as well. I think we probably will see that also. But I'm going to go with my lock it in here. I'm going with the Avatar game as like the big, that'll be like one of the big announcements of this entire showcase. So I'm going to go Avatar. And I think just add a little spice onto the prediction. I think we'll actually be mildly impressed by it looking fairly decent. So there's that. Heading to Warner Brothers. And like I said, man, the back half of these predictions here is really where the deck gets stacked. I think we're gonna see the Wonder Woman game that's from the Monolith team, the team that worked on Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor. Like it's been a while since we saw that reveal, and once again, that could have been a simple like, hey, trailer thrown out there, hey, come work for us. We're working on a fucking cool ass game, and but I think it's about time to see something on that Wonder Woman title. I think we could actually see a legit gameplay showing of this. I'm not sure maybe about a release date or anything like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if we could get a decent little, 50-second to a minute and 30-second long slice of gameplay of this Wonder Woman title. Also within the Warner Brothers ecosystem, Mortal Kombat 1 was just revealed with the CGI, the cinematic trailer that they just showed off recently. I think that's either a lock to see more of it, with it being having a release date for September. I think it's a lock that we see more of that either at the PlayStation show or more of that here. I went with the PlayStation show, but I would not at all be surprised if we did see that here. To have that alongside Wonder Woman would be a pretty big showing for Warner Brothers. Suicide Squad, with it being delayed until February, I think they're reworking a lot of the core nucleus of that title. So I don't think we see that until maybe Game Awards this year, and I imagine that we'll see it at the Game Awards, and then it'll probably be pushed back to like mid 2024 or so, or maybe even delayed, or maybe indefinitely delayed at some point. I think there's too much game there to entirely cancel it, but I don't know. I'm gonna say my lock for Warner Brothers is I think we're gonna see Wonder Woman, and I think that's like the big cap off of the entire showcase. I think that's what you say for the one more thing style announcement, and people go home happy looking at what is likely going to be one of the all-time great superhero games coming from an incredibly talented company. But we do also have Xbox here to talk about with them being announced to be a part of Summer Games Fest. Once again, I don't know, does that just mean they're a part of Summer Games Fest and the fact that they're having a showcase in the summer, or are they a part of this event officially, this June 8th showcase officially? Just to throw a prediction out there, I'll say we see a Starfield trailer, like a quick 2-minute trailer for Starfield to announce that the big showcase is happening the following week with the June 11th Starfield Direct. So that'll be like my final prediction. I think that'll just be kind of like a middle of the show style trailer with, like I said, I do think Wonder Woman would 100% close off the show, and then the Starfield thing would just be a little bit more, which Starfield is, I would say, a more anticipated game than probably anything on this list, but you can't really close a show with it because it's literally just going to be, if my prediction is true, it's literally just going to be marketing the June 11th showcase, the more in-depth direct that's going to be happening with Xbox. So I'm going to say Wonder Woman would be the big show closer here, but let's go ahead and dive into, what is it, 24 games, I believe, that I predicted officially for this showcase to have. Immortals of Avium, Modern Warfare 3, Tomb Raider, Armored Core 6, Street Fighter 6, Cyberpunk DLC, The Plucky Squire, Angerfoot, Disney's Illusion Island, Banishers, Ghost of Eden, Remnant 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Oxenfree 2, Valiant Hearts, Crimson Desert, Time Splitters, Twisted Metal the TV show, Jet Set Radio Future Remake, Persona 3 Remake, Final Fantasy 16, Techland, their new IP, Avatar from Ubisoft, Wonder Woman, and Starfield. So those are my 24 games that I predict we see at the Summer Games Fest showcase on June 8th. I'm really excited for this. I think that having, you have your PlayStation event that's more your first party, your exclusive stuff. You have your Xbox event that's similar, and then this can kind of be like that big third party showcase that the big dogs can kind of come together who are releasing multi-platform and kind of show off what they have been cooking up. So I'm really pumped for this one. There have been up and down Summer Games Fest events or Game Award events, but I don't know. I think we could see some pretty cool shit here. My expectations might be a little bit too high, so like I said, don't go into the showcase thinking that what I'm predicting here will absolutely be a lock, because a little bit of this is more in the vein of what I'm personally hyped for and hoping for. So take that with a grain of salt there. Plus, I'm not a fucking insider. I'm just a dude who enjoys video games and likes speculating about shit on the internet. So yeah, man.